Chapter 19: The Fate of the Abuser and Victim. The opportunity for preachers is to share the good news with our congregations, that in fact, violence and abuse is not the answer, nor does any individual deserve to be treated in a way that is lesser than anyone else. Reverend Susan Chorley. For what I'm going to tell you next, I have no scientific data, just what I have witnessed during years of helping people affected by domestic violence and post-separation abuse. Time will tell everything. At first, and maybe for even a while, the abuser will still appear to be put together, to be doing well financially, and to be mentally stable. On the other hand, the victim might look like they have put a finger in a light socket. They may suffer from PTSD or CPTSD. They often have depression or anxiety from years of living with an abuser. They might question their own reality or sanity since they have been previously gaslit into believing they are crazy. They might even lash out or reject those trying to help them because they do not know who to trust. But again, time will tell. I have seen a small but still too large number of victims come to a turning point where they sometimes fall into darkness and turn to harmful substances or addictions to self-medicate. Most often, however, I have seen victims become warriors. They pick themselves up and become the heroes of their own stories. No longer are they damsels in distress. I've seen them go back to school and get education or training that will help other people who have had to go through what they did. I've seen them developing skills that create beauty and serve the community. They're like an arrow that has been shot from a bow. They get power from once being held back. After they leave the abuse, they can shoot farther and faster than ever before, even exceeding the progress they would have made in a normal life without abuse. For abusers, there is also a turning point. They can move in the direction of change or down the path of blame. Some abusers will inevitably blame their victims for the abuse and do everything in their power to try and convince themselves and the world that the abuse never happened. They may try to use cruel methods that punish or re-traumatize the victim. Others will work hard over many, many years to change by accepting the atonement, receiving help through counseling, taking various batterers intervention classes, forsaking ego and self-worth issues, and overcoming addiction. In doing so, they may find that they also have broken generational cycles of abuse. Some advice for victims. As a helper, you're likely to find yourself answering multiple questions from the victims who come to you. Chief among the questions they ask will be, what do I do now that I've escaped? Here are some of the things that have helped other victims. Immerse yourself in a community of helpers, particularly those communities that help victims of domestic abuse. Build up a support system and learn about the resources and volunteer opportunities available to you. If you must keep in contact with the abuser, learn about the gray rock method of communicating with abusers. Do not feed abusers any more of your emotions. Some victims find it helpful to use AI to read emails and communicate with the abuser to help articulate information without emotional reactions to abusive or inappropriate communication. Take care of your physical health, including getting blood work done at your checkups, so you can correct any vitamin, mineral, or hormone imbalances and deficiencies caused by stress. Get plenty of sleep. I find that those with adrenal burnout or CPTSD often need 10 or more hours of sleep a day, so make naps your new hobby. Take vitamins and get plenty of appropriate exercise for you. Avoid using sugar or caffeine to stay awake or to get energy bursts. Limit your contact with toxic people and those who drain your energy. Take time to be alone and sit in silence. Discover narrative therapy. Narrative therapy is about writing and telling your story and thoughts in one way or another. Some people journal to get grounded, sort out their feelings, or process events. Some people write stories about fictional characters who face monsters that are symbolic of the monsters they have faced in their own lives. Some people write their own story and record what happened to them. Discover ecotherapy. Get out in nature and do something as simple as stacking rocks, building a sandcastle, collecting shells or rocks, gardening, being with animals, hiking, breathing in the mist from a waterfall, or putting your bare feet in a stream. Learn to ground yourself when triggered, or if you find yourself in the midst of having a gut reaction to something the abuser has said or done. An easy way to do this is to start labeling the ordinary objects in your sightline. Look around the room, car, or wherever you are, and then say or think the name of the objects you see. This is a coat. That is a lamppost. Over there is a chair. Label as many objects as you need to. Sometimes, abusers expect you to respond to their messages and react to them right away, even when it's not an emergency. It's always best to wait until you feel grounded before responding. If the abuser sends you communication or court orders, enlist a calm friend to read the papers first and summarize their understanding of whatever it is before you read it. Do not be quick to jump into another relationship, and never get into a relationship to solve a problem. You may have past trauma and codependency issues to overcome, and until you do that, you have a greater chance of entering another abusive relationship. Build up a larger support system by contacting family and friends the abuser may have made you cut from your life. A larger support system also means the supporters you have are not as likely to get worn out. Study the research being done about the relationship between empaths and narcissists. If you are an empath, it can be extremely helpful to look into what trauma bonding may have occurred from past experiences with narcissists and other unhealthy dependencies. Learn to be assertive. People who are generally passive often feel like they are being aggressive when they are actually being assertive. Work to overcome that feeling. Become comfortable with setting boundaries and expressing needs and wants in a clear and appropriate way.